Let me go over some of my basic rules. Just make the call. You must determine what are the best times for you and the frequency. My call list is developed the day before. So when I come in, my call list is waiting for me. My call list is typically 25 names. The reason it's 25, I'm a 5-to-1. For every 5 outbound calls I make, I have 1 good conversation. Each and every one of you need to know what is your ratio. So to me, if I have 5 meaningful conversations in a 3-hour period, that is a solid 3-hour period for me, and that takes 25, because everyone that I call knows why I'm calling is to sell them something, so they oftentimes don't take my call. But there will be 5 that will. If today is a call day for me, I come in, I developed the call list last night. Do not develop your call list today, it's too late. If today is your call day, I need you at your desk by 7:45. Here's the reason why. Decision makers are serious people. They are at their desk at 7:45. If you're making calls starting at 9 o'clock, you've missed the window. It's too late. You're going to have a gatekeeper, you're going to have a secretary, and you'll be lucky to get the decision maker. If you want to get to the decision maker, call Mark at 5 to 8. He's at his desk. There is no secretary. There is no receptionist. He's going to be kind of in a foul mood because he's on his first cup of coffee. And he's going to answer his phone. Mark, don't let that upset you. I got what I want. I got the guy on the phone without having to fight with the secretary. Okay? Start early. If today is your call day, you're going to put in 12 hours. You cannot go home till 6:45, maybe 7 o'clock. You want to know why? The best return calls of the day come in after 5:30. Serious business people return their phone calls, but they don't leave voicemails. So if you decide you're going to leave at 5, guess what's going to happen? At 5:45, one of the most important decision makers that you've reached out to is going to return your call. But because you weren't at your desk, they're not going to leave a voicemail. They're thinking, why do I want to do business with this guy? He's not accessible. But the same person is going to say to you when you answer your phone at your desk at 6:15, Mike Lipsy, they say this to me all the time. Mike, man, I didn't expect you to still be here or be there. I said, you must be kidding. I've been waiting for your call all day. I'm running an emergency room over here. We never close. And that has got to be the philosophy that you have if you're going to be in commercial real estate. You need to let your prospects and clients know, I'm open 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. I did a program for a REIT on Monday. I flew in from Orlando, West Coast. I fall asleep by 10 o'clock. The client calls me a little after 10. And I try to fake it as much as I can, but I guess it sounded like I was sleeping. And he says to me, oh, Mike, I'm so sorry. I'm all excited about tomorrow. I just want to make sure you're ready to go. You know which hotel we're doing it. Are you sleeping? I said, for you, I'm never asleep. I'm awake. That has got to be your philosophy. Other than when you're here, your cell phone's off or it's maybe on vibrate, you have got to be available all the time. And this is not 9 to 5. Please pick another career now. This isn't the one. This is 12 hours a day, at least 5 days a week. I mean, you need to be planning on working 60 hours a week times 50. At the minimum, it's 3,000 hours. This is not the career for you if you don't want to put in 3,000 hours. I'm serious. There is a wonderful relationship between what you're going to earn this year and the amount of quality time you put in each and every day. It's going to come back. The internal rate of return is going to be huge, but you got to be willing to make the commitment. This isn't a part-time kind of thing. Up early. Decision makers are up early. They're at their desk early. It is amazing the number of decision makers I'm able to get at their desk at 7:30. It is amazing how many of them are still at their desk at 6:30 in the evening. So I'm not saying that you got to go 7 to 7 every day, but if today's a call day, get those calls out. You're going to get some return calls after 5:30, 5:45. I have a problem, though, when they call you on your cell phone. I want you to be focused. I want you to be in your capsule. We'll talk about that in just a second. And more importantly, I want them at their landline. One of the biggest changes that we've made now in the way we sell is we sell from our website. We'll talk about that in just a second. Exercise. I'm doing a program, I forgot where I was last week, and this young broker comes in. He said that he is doing CrossFit in the morning. I said, what time do you start? He says, I start at 5. I said, how long does it last? She says, oh, it goes an hour, hour and a half. That should not be their call day. Unless this guy is just superhuman and they can do an hour and 15 minutes of CrossFit. So you want to make sure that you do moderate exercise on your call days because you need a lot of energy. If you're going to go 12 hours, and that's not going to be 12 hours solid on outbound calls, but you need to be prepared later in the evening to take the return calls. You want your energy to come across on the phone. Starbucks, younger brokers, you're consuming too much caffeine on call days. Some of you are doing a quad cappuccino, and then you do a Red Bull. You ever heard those voicemails before? Hey, Mike Lipsy, 223, give me a call. Or you're the other kind of broker. Hey, leaving you a voicemail. This is Mike Lipsy. Yeah, that's right. With the Lipsy Company. Commercial real estate's our game. Hold on just a second. Yeah, tell them I'll be with them just a little bit. Okay, back to you. This is a voicemail now. You ever got one of those before? Who is this? And then it runs out of time just before you leave the phone number, right? And then you call back, hey, I forgot to leave you, and then you get 5 sentences. That's it. That's the budget. You leave a voicemail, you must always include an introductory benefit statement, and then you must have enough time to leave the phone number clearly and distinctly. Don't sound like you're over-caffeinated. I mean, please leave the phone number where they can hear it. I've already talked about no later than 7:45. This is important. Allow enough time. I can make 25 calls in an hour. But a couple things were happening. I was doing my outbound calls, and guess what? People would call me back, and I'd get aggravated. What the hell is he calling me back for? I called him. Has that ever happened to you when you're outbound mode and you get a return call? Because I was finding I was so ADD just to get the calls out, I was getting upset when people called me back. I was playing offense. I wasn't playing defense. So now I'm allowing enough time. Here's the single biggest reason, though. Here's the number one reason. I make 25 calls in 3 hours. I have how many good conversations? 5. 4 of the 5 are taken to our website in the real time. And I'll ask, are you at your computer? Yes. I'll say, I want you to go to lipsyco.com. I don't ask them, will you go? I say, I want you to go to lipsyco.com. Put in Lipsyco, Lipsyco.com. Okay, I'm there. I say, you see the thing that looks like the escalator? Yeah. Click on there. We want you to have a website that becomes your single most important selling tool when you're selling by phone. I do not want you telling a prospect when you have them on the phone, I'm going to send you something. It's not like they're going to wait for it and open it up. It's not going to happen. I'm going to send you a PDF. I'm going to send you a PowerPoint. What are you going to send them? You've got them on the phone. Let them see what you want to show them there. Here are properties we've just sold. Here's the vacant space we have in that building. Your website, in my mind, is one of the single most valuable sales tools you have. That's why one of the fastest changes we're seeing in the business, even at the national firms, are teams having their own websites which are connected to the firm website. It's just almost going to be standard operating procedure. And the reason is I don't want you to be in a position to let me send you a document. It might get stuck in junk. It might get stuck in spam. They might not even know what it is when they open it. That's why I want people or prospects at their landline. So that when I call you, fair enough, you're there. I can say, are you at your computer? 99 times out of 100, if I've called them on a landline, guess what? They are at their PC. Please stand the entire time. You're going to find your energy level is at a much higher degree when you're standing. I just did a program in San Diego. And I walked around the offices. As a matter of fact, it was in La Jolla. Who's from San Diego in here? And I walked around. Every other broker had a stand-up desk. I've had a stand-up desk for over 20 years. I haven't sat in 22 years. I stand the entire time I'm selling by phone. I want the energy to come across the call. And I find that if you sit, come the third hour, guess what? Mike Lipsy, I'm tired. You stand, and we're seeing more and more brokers stand, and I love it when I come into your offices, And some of you, whether you've gotten the steel case solution or you've just got those inexpensive solutions from Amazon that you put on top of your regular desk, and it puts you kind of like at this position, and you got your keyboard there, and you've got your headset, you're in the game. I can see a broker that's in the game. I'll walk in your office. You know what I'm talking about? Have you ever seen them before? You come in there, they're at their stand-up desk, they got their Bluetooth thing flashing, and then they're like out of their body. Have you ever seen, they're spinning around too. Have you ever seen that? This cat is selling. I mean, this cat is selling. And then I'll go to the next cube, and here's this guy whispering almost, yes. Like, I mean, that's not the energy I'm looking for. Here it is. This is the best practice for selling by phone. So I got the question, Mike, what are the better ways to get past the gatekeeper? Holly, did you ask that question, I think? Someone asked a question over here about, Mike, what's some of the things that we can do to make it easier? Or what are some of the things that we can do to send to the prospect, was the question. It depends on what tier they come from. If it is a tier 4 prospect, they get a direct mail piece before I call them. A direct mail piece is a recently published business book. Now, 25 years ago, we sent out kind of clocks, for example, and it had on the clock, isn't it time to use the Lipsy Company or something like that. But today you can go to Amazon and get Michael Lewis's new book, Flash Boys. You take that book, and now this is a tier 4 mailer. This isn't a tier 1, so this is only going to 4 or 5 prospects. And I take Michael Lewis's new book, and I put a compliments card on there, which is about this size right here. And it says, Greg, just finished reading Flash Boys. Having timely information is the key to making good decisions. We'll visit with you about providing you real-time real estate information so you can make, the right investment. Mike Lipsy. And I take that compliments card and I shrink wrap it to the book. We then mail it on a Tuesday or Wednesday, knowing it's going to get to you by Monday of next week. And here comes this book with a compliments card on top, addressed to you, signed by Mike Lipsy with this nice note. I call you the next day, and the gatekeeper says, why are you calling? I said, we sent Greg a recent copy of Flash Boys. He says, you know what? I put it on his desk yesterday. Hold on one second. Guess what? Now, you're a tier 4 prospect, not a tier 1. So tier 4 prospect says, let me show this guy a little courtesy. I mean, he sent me a book. If you are a tier 4 prospect for our company, I would never call you cold, ever. Would not happen. I'm going to e-gift you, truly gift you, or find someone from LinkedIn who knows you that knows me that's going to call and introduce me to you. If you're a tier 1, I'll pick up the phone and I'll call you because I'm thinking it's a low percentage play. A high percentage play, do not call them without laying the groundwork first. Because if you squander that prospect, it's going to be a while before you can double back. So that's why I tier my prospects, because if they're tier 4, we will invest into a gift. Wonderful tenant rep broker in Houston by the name of Trevor Hightower. We've been using our gifting campaign since '89, but I'd never called it that. And Trevor came up to me last year. He says, Mike, that's gifting. He's a delightful fellow. Went to the Air Force Academy, has been practicing commercial real estate for several years. I said, I've never heard that term gifting. He says, gifting is where you send something to someone, and not that they owe you anything, but they do have a sense of obligation. I said, I've never thought about it that way, but that's what we've been doing for years. That's a tier 4 prospect. A tier 1 prospect gets an e-gift from us, which I think they really will be interested in a recent article about how they're using space to improve sales and productivity. Postcard campaigns. Recent comparables are one of the absolute best. If, let's say, you're saying you're going after owners, you know what they want? They don't want your newsletters. They do not want your newsletters about who you play softball against. I can just tell you, they don't care. You know what they want from you? Tell me about properties that have just sold in my submarket. You know what corporate real estate executives want from you? Recent leases that have been negotiated that could affect the renewal that they're going to be doing in 6 months. That's what they want from you, real-time information. And so I send you an email that says, a property just sold 2 blocks from your existing location. If you would like to know the details on that transaction, give me a call.